They tried to silence you for a reason. It wasn't because you were wrong. It wasn't because you didn't have something valuable to say. No, it was because your voice carries power, real power, the kind that shakes the room, the kind that awakens people, the kind that disrupts darkness, and the enemy knows it. That's why they laughed when you spoke. That's why they ignored you when you told the truth. That's why they whispered about you behind closed doors, because something in your spirit made them uncomfortable. They saw a light in you, a fire you hadn't even fully realized was burning inside you. And instead of celebrating it, they feared it. So they did the only thing they could. They tried to shut you up. But guess what? That voice inside you, it was never theirs to silence. Your voice isn't just sound, it's spirit. It's a vibration sent from heaven to break chains, shift atmospheres, and awaken people who've been asleep too long. And when you speak truth, the enemy trembles. That's why he's been working overtime to keep you quiet. Because once you realize what's inside you, what your words are truly capable of, there's no stopping the impact you can make. The enemy isn't afraid of your appearance, your background, or your status. He's afraid of your obedience. He's afraid of what happens when you stop shrinking, when you stop doubting, and you finally speak the words God placed in your spirit. Because when a chosen one opens their mouth with boldness, hell has to back down. You've probably felt it your whole life, this strange pressure to stay quiet. In school, you had something to say, but you held back. In relationships, you felt deeply but kept it inside. Even now, in conversations where your insight could help someone break free, you sometimes stay silent. And afterward, you feel it. That heaviness, that regret, that sense of, I should have said something. That's not by accident. That's spiritual warfare. The enemy has studied your voice. He knows it can inspire people who are on the verge of giving up. He knows it can expose lies and shake strongholds. He knows your voice carries frequency, divine frequency, that reaches into hearts and makes people feel seen, known, and understood. And so he sends shame. He sends fear. He brings up your past. He tells you, who do you think you are to speak? And maybe you've believed that lie for too long, but not anymore. Because this is the season where your silence becomes your strength, and then your strength becomes your sound. You weren't created to blend in. You weren't designed to be a background character in your own life. You were chosen to speak, chosen to declare, chosen to tear down and build up with the words God has given you. Think about this. Every major move of God in Scripture started with someone speaking. Moses stood before Pharaoh and declared, "Let my people go." Jesus didn't just perform miracles. He taught, he declared, he rebuked. Even creation itself was spoken into existence. Let there be light. That's the power of voice, and you have that power. You were sent into this world with a message in your soul. That message has been under attack since you were born. But the reason you've been attacked is the same reason you can't afford to stay quiet. Your voice was meant to rise. And you don't need a platform to be powerful. You don't need a microphone to be effective. You just need to be faithful to the calling. Speak truth in love. Speak life over dry places. Speak vision over the chaos. Speak healing into the cracks of brokenness. Even if your voice shakes, speak anyway. Even if they walk away, speak anyway. Even if no one claps, speak anyway. Because obedience isn't about applause. It's about alignment. And when you align your voice with heaven, your words carry supernatural weight. There's someone out there right now who needs to hear what you have to say. They're drowning in silence, hoping someone will say what they've been afraid to admit. And your voice might be the lifeline they need. The enemy knows that. That's why he sent people to criticize you, to tell you you're too much, too intense, too opinionated. That's why you felt overlooked in rooms where you should have been honored. It wasn't a coincidence. It was a setup, a distraction, a trap to keep you bound by fear. But chosen ones don't stay bound. We rise. This is your moment to stop letting fear filter your truth. Stop editing yourself to fit into spaces you've outgrown. Stop watering down your words to make insecure people feel comfortable. God didn't give you that voice to keep it buried. He gave it to you so you could set things in motion, so you could activate purpose in others, so you could break generational silence, so you could restore hope, so you could remind the world that heaven still speaks through you. And you don't need to have all the answers. You just need to be willing. Willing to say yes when God nudges you to speak. Willing to open your mouth when your flesh tells you to hide. Willing to believe that your story, your testimony, your truth matters. Because it does. More than you know. When you speak, strongholds begin to loosen. When you speak, those hiding in shame feel seen. When you speak, you release a frequency into the atmosphere that only you can carry. It's your spiritual fingerprint, and the enemy has tried to erase it for too long. No more. This is your time. Your voice has waited long enough. The world needs what's inside you. So speak. You've been in rooms where you knew things others didn't, not because you were smarter, but because you were spiritually in tune. You sensed deception when no one else did. You felt tension others ignored. You saw truth before it revealed itself. But you didn't speak, did you? You doubted your gift. You questioned your discernment. You told yourself, maybe I'm overthinking. But you weren't. You were hearing from God. See, being chosen means you'll often perceive what others can't. You'll feel what others are numb to. You'll carry burdens no one sees. And the enemy uses that sensitivity against you. He makes you feel crazy, overdramatic, paranoid. But that's a lie. You're spiritually awake in a world that's spiritually asleep. And your voice, it's the alarm clock. You were built for divine interruption. You were born to be the sound that wakes people up from spiritual sedation. But you've been quiet because being misunderstood hurts. Rejection hurts. Being called too deep or too intense hurts. So instead of risking the pain, you stayed quiet. But now you're realizing, staying silent hurts even more. Because when a chosen one silences their voice, they suffocate their purpose. It eats at you from the inside out. You feel restless, frustrated, overwhelmed, and you can't explain why. It's not depression, it's suppression. You've suppressed your voice so long that your spirit is grieving. Your soul is crying out because it was created to speak, to release truth, to carry sound waves that shift the spiritual climate. There's a reason your voice feels like fire when you speak from the heart. There's a reason people pause when you talk. There's a reason you leave conversations with people still thinking about your words days later. It's because you don't just speak from your mind. You speak from the Spirit. And you can't keep hiding that anymore. Some of the people around you are uncomfortable with your voice because it exposes what they've been avoiding. You carry light, and light always makes darkness uncomfortable. When you speak, the masks fall off. When you speak, excuses don't hold up. When you speak, conviction rises. And people either love you for it or resent you for it. But none of that should stop you. God didn't give you this voice to make people comfortable. He gave it to bring clarity. He gave it to stir hearts. He gave it to disrupt what the enemy has tried to keep hidden. And don't get it twisted. The enemy hears you even when people pretend they don't. Every time you speak a word of encouragement, a demon loses ground. Every time you pray out loud, chains start rattling. Every time you declare truth, darkness has to retreat. That's why your voice is attacked, because it's effective. There are generational curses that end because you decided to speak up. There are people who will find Christ because you use your voice. There are broken spirits that will be healed because you dared to tell your story. The enemy knows your voice carries legacy, and he wants to stop it before it's unleashed. But guess what? It's too late, because the pain you've endured has become your fuel. The rejection only sharpened your clarity. The silence gave birth to a fire that words can no longer contain. You're done holding back. You're done shrinking. You're done tiptoeing around truth to keep people comfortable. This is the season where your voice becomes a weapon of light, a weapon of healing, a weapon of truth. You don't have to scream to make an impact. Your calmest whisper can shift a soul when God's backing your words. And when you speak from the Spirit, your words won't return void. You've spent enough time second-guessing yourself, enough time apologizing for your boldness, enough time editing your passion to fit in with people who weren't called to do what you're called to do. Your voice is different because your assignment is different. You're not meant to go viral. You're meant to go deep. Your words might not reach millions, but they'll reach the right one. And that one might be the next world changer. That one might be the person on the edge, needing your words to pull them back. That one might be the child who finally believes they're loved, the addict who chooses freedom, the weary soul who finds strength. Don't measure your impact by the noise it makes. Measure it by the light it brings. When you open your mouth, speak life. Speak healing. Speak truth even when your voice trembles, especially when your voice trembles. Because trembling is a sign that you're pushing through the fear. And fear is the last line of defense the enemy has before your breakthrough. You've been given a divine frequency. Heaven recognizes your sound. Hell fears your sound. And earth needs your sound. So speak even when you're not sure how it will be received. Speak when you feel alone. Speak when the room is quiet. Speak when the storm is loud. Speak when no one else will. Because chosen ones don't speak for attention. They speak from intention. And when intention meets anointing, transformation happens. You have something to say. Don't let fear convince you otherwise. Don't let rejection convince you otherwise. Don't let silence become your identity. You are not invisible. You are not forgettable. You are not here to blend in and fade out. You are a voice for the voiceless, a voice for the wounded, a voice for the kingdom. And the world is waiting to hear what you have to say. You ever wonder why your throat feels tight when you're about to say something real? Why your heart races when you get that deep urge to speak the truth? That's not anxiety. That's spiritual warfare. That's your inner being wrestling with the resistance the enemy sends every time you're about to open your mouth and shift something in the atmosphere. See, the enemy isn't afraid of chatter. He's not afraid of noise. He's afraid of truth. And the thing about you is that when you speak, truth hits different. It pierces. It unlocks. It breaks. And that's why you've been silenced for so long. Some of you were silenced in childhood. Told to be quiet, told to stay in your place, dismissed when you spoke with passion. Others of you were silenced by trauma, painful experiences that made you retreat inward and build walls around your voice. And some of you were silenced by people who recognized your power and were threatened by it. So they labeled you too much, too intense, or too sensitive. They weren't protecting you. They were trying to dim your light before it fully shined. But guess what? It's too late. The light is breaking through the cracks. The voice is rising from the ashes. The silence has become unbearable, and the pressure inside of you is no longer containable. You're done swallowing your wisdom. You're done watering down your spirit. You're done being quiet just to make people who aren't growing feel secure. It's your time now. This is the season where you reclaim your sound. This is the moment where your voice aligns with heaven's frequency. You're not speaking from ego. You're speaking from the throne room. And when your words carry that kind of weight, mountains move, chains break, atmospheres shift, and demons flee. Don't wait for perfect timing. Don't wait until you feel fully ready. Just speak. Start where you are. Let your voice evolve as you grow. Let it tremble at first. Let it crack. Let it stumble. God doesn't need your voice to be polished. He just needs it to be available. Your power is not in how loud you speak. It's in the truth you carry when you do. And here's the part most people don't tell you. When you finally step into your voice, some people will leave. They'll say you've changed. They'll say you've gotten too spiritual, too bold, too deep. But really, they're just not used to you being unapologetically free. Let them go. Because the people assigned to you will recognize your voice like a tuning fork. It will resonate with them. It will wake something up inside of them. They'll say, "I didn't even know I needed to hear that." That's how you'll know your voice is walking in purpose. You were never meant to just survive. You were meant to speak life into dry places. You were meant to declare victory where defeat once stood. You were meant to proclaim healing where pain tried to live forever. And every time you speak with intention, your voice becomes a tool in God's hands. Use it to pray. Use it to teach. Use it to sing. Use it to write. Use it to call people higher. Use it to tear down lies and build up hope. Just use it. The more you speak, the more power you unlock. The more you declare truth, the less fear controls you. The more you tell your story, the more others are freed to tell theirs. You are not here by accident. Your voice is not random. It carries divine weight. It carries generational purpose. It carries heavenly strategy. And now, it's your turn to release it. No more waiting. No more hiding. No more shrinking. You are the chosen one, and your voice is the sound of breakthrough.